Uh, Today I would like to tell you a story about where some of my wealth came from. Although there were trillions that my father left me, when I was in the hospitals investigating those wards, I had them all on tape. I had them all on tape. There's no way they could hide the tapes. They tried to say that the whole thing was a movie, and they deported the tapes to another country. Uh, they tried to get me to believe that, did not believe, to admit or contest, to test that the whole story about human trafficking, everything that went on in the hospitals, that I had them on film, was a movie. Was a movie. They had me attest to that. They wanted me to attest to that. They wanted me to attest to that, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't say it was a movie. I said certain things might have been played up, but it wasn't a movie. It was most of that stuff was really happening, and I was investigating. We called it the Hospital Gate investigation, which was a continuation of what Lukey and I were doing on the phones, the cell phone, the podcast. But this was the real investigation, the real Hospital Gate investigation. It started with the trafficking of children in Nassau County Medical Center, and then it went to Creedmoor, South Nassau, Nassau, and Pilgrim. Last time I was at South Nassau, they wanted me to say it was a movie, that I was producing a movie, and that everything that went on was a movie. And that way they would get away with it. That way they would get away with everything. They'd put it out as a movie. My story would get out there. It would go out as fiction. And they would get away with it. However, I refused to say it was a movie. Now, I believe what they did was transfer the footage over to another country and said it was a movie. And they put billions of dollars in my bank account. Lukey and I found that we had those bank statements. My lawyer, Lukey, thought there were hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank statements. My friend that knows the lawyer looked at those bank statements, and he found out something different. Lukey emailed him the bank statements, and he found about a couple billion, maybe more, in deposits. Deposits. Now, if they were depositing money into my account, it was billions. There must have been a real thing about this movie. They must have put out this movie. Now, the thing I'm going to do is I'm an honest person. I know that stuff went on, and I know I could go out there and become a famous movie producer, putting on a movie. I'm not going to do that because I know it's not a movie. I know this stuff really happened. And since I wouldn't own up to attest to the fact that they were saying it was a movie, if I went to attest to that, not fact, fiction, that it was a movie, that now confronted with the whole thing, I could argue, it could take me to court, and I could testify that it wasn't a movie. Had I said that the whole thing was a movie, you know what? They'll blow the whole testimony. If they got me to say that the whole thing was a movie, I would have got paid big time. I would have been bigger producer than Sylvester Stallone, and actor, everything. But at the same time, I would blow the whole investigation. And even with my partner that was in the Hospital Gate investigation, Larry Dates, he was willing to say it was a movie. I wasn't. Everybody, the judges involved, the jury, everybody was involved, wanted to say it was a movie. I wouldn't do it. The people in the ward wanted to be a movie because they were doing some wrong things. And they were seriously wrong. They were trafficking children. They were laundering money. They were killing people. They were psychiatric abusing people. Of course, they wanted it to be a movie. And the judges and all that were involved in the case want to be a movie because they want to get paid. And my partner, Larry Dates, who I was in the rackets with, and I was in the police department with, and I was also a musician on stage with, he wanted to be a movie. I was the only one I said, this is not a movie. This is really happening. This stuff is really happening. I said, yes, some of the things were filmed as for entertainment purposes, but the majority of what went on in these hospitals was an investigation called Hospitalgate, and it was real. We did do a comedy show at the end. I agreed to do a comedy show at the end, but I did not agree that the whole thing was a movie. I agreed that there was a little comedy show, but there was the investigation was real, and it was called the Hospitalgate investigation. And there were people, the AI. Lukey and I talk about AI and all that and cloning. Well, there were AI and there were clones. There was even a Master Lukey clone who had me fooled. The Master Lukey clone had me fooled, thinking it was the real Master Lukey, and then I put two and two together. I put two and two together when I saw the actor or the clone that was supposed to be Donald Trump, and I looked at them side by side as not this Donald Trump is he's not the real Donald Trump. He's an actor or he's a clone, and I reported that, and then he went down as an actor. So. Yeah, they were trying to, at that point, they were trying to make Donald Trump look bad, wailing on the psych ward, and then he wouldn't get elected again. And I blew the whistle on them, and then I proved that the Donald Trump guy was not the real Donald Trump. But they were willing to say that because they wanted to be a movie, so they want the whole thing to be a movie after that. And they found out that I was going to get everything out there. So they figured, if he's going to get everything, I summoned the Supreme Court. Where Larry Dates and I got it to the Supreme Court. We got everything to the Supreme Court. Larry Dates was on the money all the way up to the point where we got it to the Supreme Court. And then him and the rest of the judges and everything wanted to be a movie. They don't want to get paid. And I'd be the head guy, paid for the production. And that will go down as a movie. But I'm here to tell you, when you see this stuff, and you hear about all this stuff, it's not a movie. And you'll see me on screen saying this is a reality, it's not a movie. But also, George Michelotti found small bank statements taken out of the bank, but he saw billions of dollars put into the bank as a deposit. And the banks know they're in trouble. And they know they let this go on, so they're trying to cover up by saying they don't know about the bank account. But George, my lawyer, I mean, everybody except for Lukey knows that the banks are lying to. That is it is real bank statements, and this is a real bank account. But what we found out was that we thought they were transactions, but they were really billions of, not hundreds of millions like when Lukey thought, but billions of dollars, and billions of dollars deposits, which means billions of dollars were deposited into my bank, which I believe were coming from this comedy show, which led to the real stuff that they was trying to say was a movie. The Hospitalgate investigation. And they were trying to make a joke out of the Hospitalgate investigation joke. And now that there is, since there are girls involved that were trafficked and young guys that were forced to fight in a cage in Nassau County Medical Center and all the psychiatric abuse, they're really going to investigate these people. They're going to come down hard on them. I'm going to get my money back, and I'm going to get the money. Well, they already paid me for this quote-unquote movie without me agreeing to it. I'm taking the money, and I'm taking them all down too. And I'm also taking my money back that my father left me. And yeah, they tried to say that it was a movie. Now, you could chat if you want to, but the chat isn't working yet. You could chat if you want to amongst each other, but the chat isn't working yet because the other phone, I got to get a plug for it. So I'm using the phone without the chat. But I want you to log on, and I want you to log on, share, and subscribe. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. At We Are Hospitalgate, like, share, and subscribe. That's at We Are Hospitalgate, at We Are Hospitalgate, like, share, and subscribe. That's at We Are Hospitalgate, at We Are Hospitalgate, like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so now you know basically more about the Hospitalgate investigation. And the Hospitalgate investigation is going to be a big thing, okay? Hopefully, Lukey is on board with me now when he sees this video, because I don't want to leave him in the cold. I want him to be a part of this whole movement. He's great on the show, and whatever problem he has with me, I hope it gets over it, because we could use him with the Hospitalgate investigation. Again, the other cop involved in the Hospitalgate investigation when I was in South Nassau, which started from Nassau County and all the other places, and even the beginning, the first time I was in South Nassau, was Larry Dates. Larry Dates was the one that got me certified as a cop, and then he found out I was a black man, and then he tried to axe me out as a cop. And then he tried to join them to say it was a movie to screw me over because I'm a black man. I'm a white man, but half black. Part albino black. And he didn't like that. So Larry Dates was a dedicated police officer. Dedicated police officer to almost declarated like me. But then he found out something about me, and he threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. He found Larry Dates, who was supposed to be one of my best friends, found this out about me, and then he threw a monkey wrench in everything. He was the one that threw the monkey wrench, because when they were all trying to do this movie thing, he was helping me get it to Supreme Court. He wasn't having it. He finds out I got black blood in me. He's so resentful that he decided that he's going to throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing, and he did. But now that we found these bank statements from U.S. Bank, it's called U.S. Bank. Now that we found these bank statements from U.S. Bank, even though the bank isn't owning up to being an account there, my lawyer is a slick lawyer, and he's a smart lawyer. His name is Chris. I don't know his last name, but he's a smart lawyer, and he'll do some detective work, and he'll find stuff out. Because a good lawyer will do detective work. They'll go along, they'll hang out with the cops, and they'll do detective work. That's what you call an investigated attorney. Like Lukey and I were investigated journalists. That's like a cop too, because the investigative journalists investigate, and they go on TV do the podcast as a journalist. But my lawyer is like an investigative lawyer. And yeah, it's a class of. Somebody said I look like Sylvester Stallone today. You know what I mean? Someone said that. Yeah, the cop in charge of the investigation alongside of me was Larry Dates. Remember this name, Larry Dates. He was a big factor in the investigation. He almost helped me pull it off until he found out that I had black blood in me. Then he called me what he called me, and he ended the whole thing. He even got me certified as a cop and brought the certification to the hospital, and almost got me certified. We found out I was black, or part black, and then he decided that that I wasn't a cop. He came in there, so I take it back, and then he threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. Tried to say go along to people saying this whole thing was a movie. I was the only one involved on both sides that wasn't willing to agree that it was a movie, but I was supposed to be the producer, the main person. So that would explain why the billions of dollars were put into my account. But you know what? I could keep that money. You take what they give you as long as it's free. So that means I just take that money and still testify that it is not a movie. And of course, the rest of the money they took from me. Besides that billion, there were trillions. I'll get that too. But they think that they got this money in my account, and they're gonna like if I find out what's going on, which I am, that I'm gonna be able to say that's a payoff, so that I can't say anything. No, I'll just say you guys put the money in my account. You didn't tell me about it, but I'm keeping the money, and I'm selling you out. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? This is the hospital gate investigation. It stops for no one. Or no money. Nothing. Stops for nothing. And as far as people putting money in my account, I'll take what they give me as long as it's free. And now my lawyer is going to make sure that I keep this money and all the other money that they took. And my lawyer is also we're going to take a criminal suit against these people. Not just the money laundering, but the fact that they tried to bribe me with the $2 billion. And the fact that they also tried to bribe me to say it was a movie with the movie contract. And with the fact that they put out real life footage of abuse and tried to say it was a movie. And that did human trafficking and psychiatric abuse and money laundering, everything. They're going down. And what Lukey said about us blowing the lid off the healthcare system, he doesn't know the beginning of it. We are going to blow the lid off the healthcare system. Lukey, if you're watching now, we have just blown the lid off the healthcare system. You and me. If you choose to stay with me on the show, you and I have just blown the lid off the healthcare system as it is. Now, next week, I believe it's the 18th. The 18th, I'm going to have money to get that plug for the other phone. And you'll be able to chat. Until then, we got a lot to talk about. Again, Lukey, we have just blown the lid off the healthcare system as it is. We blew the lid. Something you and I have been talking about for months. We blew the lid. And the credit that would have gone to my partner, Larry Dates, on the police department, is now going to you and me, Lukey. The credit that is going to me is going to me, but the other part of the credit that was going to go to Larry Dates is going to you. Because you didn't sell out, I hope. Now, if you did, I'm still going to blow it off. But I don't think you would. Sylvester Stallone, huh? Hey, Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. I've heard people say I look like Dolph Lundgren, but never Sylvester Stallone. Dolph Lundgren, the Russian guy, I've heard people say that. But this guy said I look like Sylvester Stallone. Anyway, Lukey, we just blew the lid off the healthcare system as this. I'd like to bring somebody else in here to talk. Because, I'm a guest to come in. I'll be right back, guys. Want to say something on my show? Come on. Come on, to say something on my show. Mom's coming in later. Don't talk anything about mental health when we have. Don't talk anything about your health system. But you can talk about the abuse health system. Don't talk about being in it. I don't want to be anything. Just say a couple of words. I got a friend in here, and they call him. What do they call you again?
Big Show.
They call him the Big Show. This is why. He looks like the Big Show in wrestling. Take a look at this guy. Look how big he is. Look at the size of this guy. Look at the size of this guy. The Big Show.
Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you out there. I hope everything's going well with you tonight. And Merry Christmas to everybody. And I hope everybody's happy. And
Do you got anything to say about your experience of what you witnessed in the healthcare system? What you witnessed?
it's a treacherous system. There's a lot of bad things going on, a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. It depends on what you see and what you hear. Don't believe everything. And make up your own minds. And I don't know. To each his own. And I don't know.
Do you ever have aspirations of being a pro wrestler? Let's talk about that.
Nah, I don't do wrestling.
Talk about your bouncing days. How you were, but he was a bouncer. The guy was a bouncer.
I was a bouncer. I took a few
Security
guys
in the
out.
bars.
I took a few guys out once in a while. And it was a fun time. I had a good time. I enjoyed it. We all had a good time. I worked with a good crew of guys. I miss them all. And we all had a good time. It was nice working out on the bar, on the docks.
You were the biggest guy, right? The biggest guy?
I was one of the biggest guys, yeah. There were one or two bigger guys.
Most of them were my size. Most of the guys were my size, right? The rest were New York.
Yeah.
Big guys.
And I don't know.
Tell my viewers about how you took a guy's head and put it through a door.
Yeah, we opened the restaurant door with the guy's head. We did that, yeah. Me and this other bouncer friend of mine, we opened the door with the guy's head.
He was a big guy too, right? Big guy?
He was a stocky gentleman.
Short, stocky, right?
Short and stocky.
No much for you though, right?
It's easier to take out people that are intoxicated.
Yeah, that's true. I worked in bars, you're right. I worked in bars. It's very easy to take out guys when they're intoxicated. A lot easier than when they're sober. Because their senses aren't as good and they can't think straight. And they can't think straight. They can't, they're like retarded people. They can't think straight. Or mentally challenged people. They can't think straight. Anything else?
God bless everybody, and I hope you'll have a good night. And I hope Rich does well with his show, and he's a good guy, and that's it.
They all know me as Sir Doyle on the internet.
Okay, Sir Doyle. All right. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. No, good night, guy.
Good night, Rich.
All right. You guys, I'm still talking to. They're not good night. Okay, you guys are talking to. Anyway, so if Lukey's watching this show tonight, which he probably is, I'm sure he is. I want to let him know again. We just blew the lid off the healthcare system. The Hospital Gate investigation, which would have been credited to this cop Larry Dates and me, is now credited to Lukey, Kumo, and Sir Doyle. Master Lukey and Sir Doyle. Now it's credited to Master Lukey and Sir Doyle. If Lukey's watching. Lukey, we blew the lid off the healthcare system. And there'll be no more psychiatric abuse, no more bad nutrition like he talks about, no more human trafficking. It's all done. It's all done with. because we blew the lid. And you know what can I say? Hospital Gate, it makes Watergate look like an argument on a playground. I don't know whoever said that. I wasn't the first person to say that about Hospital Gate. Somebody chatted on my channel when it first came out, saying that Hospital Gate makes Watergate look an argument in the playground. Now, when the chat's working again, I want you to chat. Whoever said that, the first person to say that, he chatted, and it was a legendary statement. Whoever that person was, the next time we stream, I'll tip you off when who you are when we're on the other phone, and you just, when I give it the go ahead, you get on the stream and you tell us your name. The person who said, or I quoted his words, but he said this for the first time in the chat. Hospital Gate makes Watergate look like an argument in the playground. That man is legendary. He'll be legendary when he gets on the chat and says who he is. I remember I said it a lot on the show, but it came from a man that was chatting on. It was when Unirock was promoting us before we were shut down. Before we shut down the first time, somebody from Unirock's crew got on the chat and he said, "Hospital Gate makes Watergate look like an argument in the playground." And I just picked up on that. But I can't take full credit for that because it wasn't my saying. I'll be right back. Like I was saying, I can't take full credit for that. I can't take full credit for that because, like I say, I can't take full credit for that because it wasn't something I said. I quoted it, but I didn't really say it. The person that said it was in a chat. I believe he was one of Unirock's crew. That man is legendary for that statement. He's got a legendary part in the Hospital Gate investigation because what he said, the words, Hospital Gate makes Watergate look like an argument in the playground. When I start talking about this again next week and the chat goes up, I want that person to chat to tell everyone who he was. And when he gets on Red Owl News, to chat on that too. Many thanks to Red Owl News. Many thanks. Hospital Gate is very thankful to Red Owl News because Red Owl News picked up the story on Hospital Gate on his channel after my channel. Because when my channel, which was Lukey and I together, my channel was shut down, we picked up on his channel. And then we put everything back on on my new channel, which is Hospital Gate, Hospital Gate. But it started out as www.hospitalgate.org, and that's how the whole thing started. And it was my channel, and I had almost 1,000 viewers within like a month or two. That's how fast I picked up. Like a month. I've like almost 400 now, but it's within 2 or 3 months. This channel was out there for a year with almost no viewers, but within 1 month, I think it went up to almost 1,000. And I think if that channel did not get shut down, it got shut down, and somebody said they saw it on TV. They saw Hospital Gate mentioned on TV, and Hillary was on the bottom. And when I told that to Lukey said, "You probably was shut down by the Hillary Hit Squad," which is the Hillary Clinton. They go after podcasts when they talk about her, and could have been Hillary Hit Squad, but they shut us down. What's his name? Bill Gates shut us down. And then the show went on Red Owl Network, which is Lukey's channel, as a part of his Red Owl Network. And now it's back on at Rio Hospitalgate. And the time we had almost 1,000 hits. Now Lukey's, because the show got popular because Howard Stern and his crew promoted us on his channel. So he went up to 6,500 viewers. And right now, since my channel's new, it's only a couple of months old, it has, I think, 300 something, maybe close to 400 hits. I mean, viewers. I mean, subscribers. And it's just starting out. But when I first came out there, I talked about things nobody wanted to pay attention to. Nobody would pay attention to it. I had like maybe 27 subscribers. And then when Lukey and I got together, and then we still didn't have many subscribers, but then Unirock promoted us and we went boom. We went up to like almost 1,000 subscribers, and then we got shut down on my channel, and we were on his channel. Now we're back on my channel. When I go over Lukey's house, sometimes we double stream, or sometimes we just use my streamer because Hospitalgate is now my show. But Lukey's a big part of it. And I started the show, and I called it Hospitalgate, and we got together, and we were out there on my channel. Then we were on his channel, back on my channel, and we blew it out of the healthcare system. And the Red Owl Network used to be Master Lukey League of Champions, but now he calls it the Red Owl Network because he's trying to get away from fighting, which I don't blame him. So that's what's going on. The lawyer's looking into it. I left a message on the answering service saying, I'm talking about how I did that investigation, and they tried to say it was a movie. And the bank statements are going to the lawyer, and everything's going down. Very soon we're going to take a civil suit and a criminal suit. The criminal suit, which already went to the Supreme Court, but because Larry Dates, my partner in the police department, police force, he threw a monkey wrench in it. He ended up, the Supreme Court ended up making a joke out of it, putting it out as a joke. But otherwise, if he didn't find out it's about me, he would have been serious, and he would have gone to the Supreme Court, and then they would have nailed these people. He let all those people suffer. All those young kids that was being trafficked, everyone suffered because this guy had a racist endeavor against me for being biracial. Being biracial. He had a problem with me because I was biracial. Larry Dates. His band was the Tommy Knockers. I called myself Black Monday at the time, and I used to fill in for acts. And his band was the Tommy Knockers. And he was a cop, and he was working directly with me. I was working for Citizenship Rights, and he was working for Nassau County Police Department, and I believe it was in Hewlett. And he threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. We had everything. We had all the information in the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court knows about this stuff. But they're not putting it out there because it's gone down as a movie. But the thing is, I didn't agree to it being a movie. And even when they put the money in my bank account, I didn't know about it. So I'm going to say, I'll take the money, but I'm going to testify that it's not a movie. Again, next week, when I get the other phone working, I want the man that said on the chat from Unirock's crew, Hospitalgate makes Watergate look like an argument on the playground. I want him to chat who he is, make a big to-do about him. Yeah. And you can still chat now if you want, but the only thing is it's not going to show up on the phone. When I get the other phone fixed, they'll be chatting, because I'm getting the little plug for the whole cord and the plug. It's going to cost me $40 to do all that for that phone, but it's going to be worth it because you'll be able to chat and that phone will work better and everything. I'm also very soon going to get computers. Very soon I'm going to buy some computers. So I can really do a perfect stream. I get computers. I'm going to learn how to use the computers. Everything that Lukey's doing with this stream with the computers and the phones and more, I'll be doing. Of course, I'm learning a lot from Lukey. I learned how to stream and everything. But I'm going to get in computers. I'm taking this further. I'm moving soon. Moving out of this house, going to something called supported living, where I'm another person in an apartment, or more than one or two people. And after that, when I get this case going, I get a job, I'm going to be moving out to my own space. But at least now there's a stepping stone. I won't be in here. So very soon, I won't be here. And very soon I'm going to be off these drugs too, this medicine that Lukey's trying to get me off of. I'm going to be off them. And I'll be on taking that testosterone, which Lukey's a little nervous. He thinks that it might give me roid rage. I don't think it will. It's not real. It's not really steroids. They call it steroids, but it's not. The real steroids are fake hormones. Testosterone is real hormones. Testosterone doesn't affect you the way regular steroids do. I mean, real testosterone will make your thing hang. Fake steroids will make it shrink. Real testosterone will not really give you roid range. Regular steroids will. Because the difference is testosterone is real hormones, and regular steroids is fake. And whenever you put something fake in your body, you cause problems. Not good to put fake things in your body. These medications are fake, made from fake stuff. That's why they're no good. They drill oil from the ground to get some of the stuff. Not the stuff I'm on now, but a lot of the stuff they give people, they drill it from the ground, oil. They drill from the ground. And like I said, I found out during this investigation when it started in Creedmoor that after I left Southwest the first time, the doctor had stated that had confessed, and he didn't want to give up the information, but I tricked him into it. He confessed that, I remember the guy's name, I'll let you know. He confessed that Clozaril depleted the white blood cells, which caused immune deficiency disorder, which could turn to AIDS. Started bone marrow cancer and then turns to AIDS. Because you need your white blood cells for the immune system. And they're still giving, and the people have found dead on this stuff, and they're still giving this stuff out because nobody knows this. This investigation stayed within the hospital. So all this investigation stayed within the hospitals. Except I think the last one, they transferred over to another country and said it was a movie. But otherwise, before that, everything was hidden. We'd investigate, leave the place, and everything was sealed with the HIPAA law. You know the HIPAA law. Lukey and I found something on the HIPAA law. We found Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton admitting why they created the HIPAA law, the real reason. And I don't know if Lukey remembers it. He said, I think he just said he remembered it. We were on the stream before we blew up with the Howard Stern helping us. We're on the stream, and we actually found videos, live footage of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton admitting the real reason why they created the HIPAA law. And it was to keep everything sealed. If there was a criminal in the healthcare system, the crimes were sealed. And that's what they not in so many words, but they admitted that that's why they created the HIPAA law. That everything that was going on, good or bad, would be sealed. So nobody would find out what they were doing. And they admitted this. Bill and Hillary Clinton admitted this. And they admitted this on live footage. And Lukey and I had gotten that live footage and played it on the Hospital Gate episode. They also came up with the same live footage during the investigation I was in. So I don't know if they covered that up or what. But Lukey and I had another show, another episode, before we blew up with the Howard Stern show. And we had Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton on the show there were the clips of them admitting the real reason why they created the HIPAA law, which not in so many words, but they said, not in so many words, but that they want to hide everything, that everything be hidden. Somebody committed a crime, they would hide it. If they stole money, they would hide it. Psychiatric abuse, they would hide it. And they would say it was for patient confidentiality. It was really to protect criminals from going away for crimes. That's why they created the HIPAA law. We tried to overturn it. Larry Dates and I made a gallant effort to change that HIPAA law, but bring the HIPAA to expose the HIPAA law and to change the HIPAA law into something called a partial non-disclosure law, which would still protect patient confidentiality, but it would get crimes that people committed, patient and staff, out there. And because Larry Dates decided, I'm a black man, and you know what he called me? He called me a nigger. That's what he called me. And because of that, he was going to throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. Larry Dates, from the Tommy Knockers, who was banned, who was also now a cop, threw a monkey wrench in the whole investigation because of my genital background. What do you call it? My genes, because of my gene pool, because I was a black man. He threw a monkey wrench in the whole investigation, hospital investigation. There was video, there was footage, live footage of my father that they showed, because this all came out there, and he was begging for water. He was in a hospital bed begging for water. And my mother is laughing at him. And then, this is years ago. This is before the hospital investigation. But I saw it during the hospital investigation. I saw the videos of him in St. Francis Hospital in Roslyn. Not Roslyn, it wasn't Roslyn, it was Port Washington, St. Francis Hospital. And he was begging for water. And my mother's laughing at him. And then they said to him, the whole thing is going to be a Hollywood movie. And this is the first time they were going to do the movie. Before they were going to pay me, they were going to pay my mother. And he's going to be declared incompetent. His mother's going to get all the more money. And everything that happened to you, Donald, is going to be, Donald Doyle, is going to be a Hollywood movie. And my father was in the bed. And he screamed and he kicked. And he said, I'm a little sick, a little tired. A little sick, a little tired. A little sick, a little tired. Screamed at the top of his lungs. A little sick, hit in the bed. A little sick, a little tired, kicking and screaming. And then he died. He could have got out of there. And he could have lived. He wasn't really. He found out they were trying to kill him with radiation treatment. And he could have lived. My whole family sold him out. And he died. And they said it was because of smoking. If he kept on smoking, he probably would have died anyway. But he did quit smoking, and he could have lived. But then they did this to him, and it was similar to the way Gotti died. But the thing is that he was a cop, and a darn good one. He was the original Popeye, and I'm going to talk to. I'm saying this out. I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out, Jimmy Doyle. I'm calling you out. Jimmy Doyle from Port Washington, you are not the real Popeye. My father, Donald Gregory Doyle, who was a little sick and a little tired, kicking and screaming in the bed and died for people's lives, is the real Popeye Doyle. Jimmy Doyle from Port Washington, you are not the real Popeye. You were going to give me a job on the police department and all that. Screw it. You're not the real Popeye. My father, Donald Gregory Doyle, was the real Popeye Doyle. And I'm fighting, what's his name? I'm fighting Ethan Egan again for those rights to the movie French Connection. I'm fighting Ethan Egan again. Ethan Egan, I'm fighting you again for those rights. I took them away from you once. I'm taking them again. Jimmy Doyle from Port Washington, you are not the real Popeye. My father, Donald Gregory Doyle, was the real Popeye Doyle from French Connection. And you know what? In the Hospigate investigation, the legendary Hospigate investigation, which I couldn't have done without my father, they showed videos, they showed footage of the real French Connection going on, the real story with the real cops with my father right there. And they still ignored all that and gave the credit to Jimmy Doyle. I almost took the rights from you, Jimmy. Ethan Egan. And almost exposed your friend Jimmy Doyle for not being the real Popeye. But I'm going to do it now. God rest my father's soul. Donald Gregory Doyle is the real Popeye Doyle. Not you, Jimmy. Not you. And I don't care if you offer me active duty or that bullshit pay you were going to offer me for active duty police officer and that low-ranked pension you used to was saying was so great. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you offer me. You are not the real Popeye. My father was. My father, Donald Gregory Doyle, was the real Popeye Doyle. Not you, Jimmy. And Ethan Egan, that's not your story. It's my father's. And I'm getting the rights for it because I'm his firstborn son. And you know what? Cannon? You are not the real. You're not the real Serrani. I am. And you will not get a penny either. And you're going to give up those hassles and all those houses and everything you took from me by saying you were the real firstborn son of Donald Gregory Doyle. It was me. I was the legit one, not you. And all this stuff, you heard it first on Hospitalgate. All this, you heard first on Hospitalgate. Now, hopefully, Lukey said he's going to put everything we're doing on channel News 12. But last time I talked to Lukey, he wasn't too happy. I don't know why. He goes off of me, then he's cool when he goes. Last thing he told me was not to call him, he'll call me. Well, I hope he sees this episode. I hope he calls me because we got a lot of work to do, Lukey. We got a lot of work to do. You heard it first on Hospitalgate. And you know what? Lukey, we got to get this on News 12. We got to get this show on News 12. We got to get it on all the other news stations, all over the TV, so we can get our investigation. We got to do these investigations. We got to settle the differences, and we got to do this, Lukey. We got to do this. You heard it first on Hospitalgate. Hold on, guys. I gotta get something that's ready. I'm thirsty. See, the truth about the French Connection. My father wrote this story. I don't know where he was at the time, but he wrote the story, and I know the whole story is also and from the footage of it, the people admitting it, is in the hospital system. It's all in the healthcare system. They all got everything hidden. The real truth is that my father told the story. He wrote the story in French Connection. He wrote the French Connection. He wrote the whole movie, everything based on what really happened is when he was a cop. And he, at the end of the movie, when he when he wrote the end of the movie, the script, he said, "When I get myself in trouble, I just call myself Ethan Egan," and that, I believe that was in the movie. And Ethan Egan from Texas, who was not even a cop, nobody had said it was his story. He said, "I'm Ethan Egan, and this is my story." And he sued my father for the rights to the movie, the book, and everything. And then Jimmy Doyle, who's a cop in Port Washington, well, the name of the character in the French Connection was Jimmy Doyle. So Ethan Egan, who initially tried to say he was the real Popeye, and he wrote the story because my father said that, he found that this cop was in Port Washington named Jimmy Doyle. And he said, "Well, I reiterate, I wrote the story about Jimmy Doyle in Port Washington, my friend." You know what? You guys are both full of shit. Ethan Egan, you didn't write that story. My father did. And Jimmy Doyle, you are not the real Popeye. My father, Donald Cookie Doyle, was. He died. He's deceased. God to the Lord. But you heard all this first on Hospital Gate. And hopefully, Luke, you get all these videos on News 12. And we can start interviewing people and everything. Leonard or Leonard what is his name? Leonard or what's his name? Depeche Mode or the guy that called me the other night, I can't think of his name. One of you call me up after this stream is over. One of you guys call me up after the stream is over because I want to find out how well I'm doing. That's right, you heard it first on Hospital Gate. And in Legend and Stuttering John, throw me some viewers and throw me some subscribers, please. And also, I want to give a shout out to my cousin, John Hine Jr. John Hine Jr., who did Shark Tank. Great show. Didn't see much of it. I heard it was a great show, Shark Tank. And he also was on the Howard Stern Show and has got his own podcast. John Hine Jr. is your cousin, giving you a shout out. And Legend and Stuttering John, you throw some subscribers my way and viewers. What's that guy's name? Can't think of that guy's name. Leonard something, I remember. He called a couple times. Maybe he could call me, tell me his things going. And Leonard Diamond, I think his name is. Leonard Diamond. When we obey our parents. I don't know what they mean by that. Okay. Gave you a lot of information tonight. I gave you a lot of information. I told you who the real Popeye was. I told you what really happened in those hospitals, about the hospital gate investigation, and how we're going to change everything. I told you about the cop I worked with, Larry Dates, and how he threw a monkey wrench and everything. I told you about how my father really died and that he was the real Popeye. I told you about the royalty, my brother. Told you that a long time ago. It was about my brother Canon Doyle, who got knighted by the Queen with my ID, my security number, my ID, my birth certificate. And all this stuff is hidden within the healthcare system. Or it might be out there in another country as a movie. I think it is out there because too many people saw it. And the thing was is that billions of dollars went into my bank account. So they must have done something with it. That's like they're trying to seal the deal that this is a movie that they paid the producer. But the producer doesn't know the money's going into his bank account. All he has to do is keep the money and still tell the true story anyway, because it's a bribe that I didn't take. It's a bribe that was forced on me. And now I'm going to keep the money, and I'm still going to tell the truth. You heard it first on Hospitalgate. Gotta get my teeth fixed, my testosterone injections, continue my natural healing. Gotta get my hair fixed up. Gotta do some natural healing with the food. A lot of things I gotta do. My hair's nice. Got a nice haircut. He's right with the hair, but I gotta get it trimmed up now. Now it's the length that has to be trimmed up. What can I say? You heard it first on Hospitalgate. I don't know if Jimmy Doyle's even related to me, but I know I heard all the Doyles were related. I know that my father was the direct descendant of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and so am I. And so is my sister. We're the three main direct descendants. But I think all Doyles are, unless they're fake Doyles like my brother. Well, my brother's a real Doyle too, but he's not legit. His real name is Chris Jeffers, and he's my father's other son. But but I'm saying most Doyles are all related, I think. It's just the importance of them. My father, my sister, and I are direct descendants, so we're heirs to everything. We're three direct descendants. And in the book, Rivals of Sherlock Holmes, my father had that 3 social security numbers put in the book because he wanted everybody to know that we were the three main direct descendants. So he had the people that published the books, the person that wrote the book, Rivals of Sherlock Holmes, which is a modern day guy that added that book to the collection, and he had him put the 3 social security numbers in the book. They might have been taken out for security reasons, but they were in there. My sister's social security card, my father's, and mine. My father's first, and then mine, and my sister's. 3 direct descendants, and I was the male direct descendant. I'm the one that supposed to inherit everything. And he had those social security cards put in those books. All 3 of our names, our social security numbers, and who we were in the book. Rivals of Sherlock Holmes. They might still be in the book. It might not be. Look up that book. Rivals of Sherlock Holmes. Some man who was connected to the Doyle family wrote that book to add to the collection of this last book of the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle books, Sherlock Holmes books. But this book was not written by Sir Doyle. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This book was written by somebody else who was modern day, who added this book to the collection so that he could put the three Social Security numbers in the card in. So my father had that written, had the guy write that so he could put the three Social Security numbers in as the three direct descendants. Even if they took that out of the book for security reasons, you probably always get that book and find out information to prove who we are. Because I think my father had it pretty much set in that book that we were three direct descendants. He started by putting Social Security number cards in the book. Now I think there's going to be some other proof. It might still be the Social Security cards might still be in the book. But Social Security put those Social Security cards in the book by my father. My father had it done so that everybody would know we're three direct descendants. And my sister, my neighbor Gabriel, he would live next door to us. He played music with me for a while. He didn't believe my sister when she said that my father, her, and me were three direct descendants, and he didn't believe it. And she showed him the book in the library. These are the three direct descendants of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle: Donald Gregory Doyle, Tracy Ann Doyle, and Richard Stephen Doyle. And Gabriel showed him Tracy, my sister, showed him those books, showed Gabriel those books. And then Gabriel was a believer after that. He knew for a fact that we were direct descendants because my sister showed him the book. That's how I found out about it. My mother will deny this up and down. Of course, she used to tell me about it, but now she'll deny it because now when I said to her, if I'm a direct descendant, I'm owed money. And then she said after that, "Oh no, it's been a mistake. We're not direct descendants. Your sister, your father, not direct descendant. You're not a direct descendant," because she didn't want me to get the money. I told her, "Look, I know if I'm a direct descendant, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and when the last male direct descendant, I'm owed the money." And my mother was denied after that. And that's when I think she took everything out of the books and stuff. That's when people looked up in Far Rockaway, people in Far Rockaway looked up my history. And just some black people in Far Rockaway, they were gangsters. They were Bloods and Crips, and all those people. They were friends of mine at the time. They looked up in the guy named Science and a few other people looked up in Far Rockaway Library, because at that time the information was in all the libraries, and they looked it up and they found out that I was a black man, that I was the last male direct descendant of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and that I was owed all this money. And they looked this up on the computer, and everybody in the town looked it up after that in Far Rockaway, where I was living at the time. They all looked it up. This information was in the Washington Public Library and all the other libraries. And they looked it up, and they said, "He's rich. He's Sir Doyle. He's rich. And you're rich. Even Stevie Wonder could tell you that you're rich, to see that you're rich. And he's blind." And I didn't know what they were talking about. And they looked this up, and they found all this information. And you know what they did? My mother did? My mother found out that the black people in the neighborhood found out all this information. She didn't want anybody to know we were a black family, and she also didn't want me to get this money. So she took everything in the computers that was put in there by my father, in all the libraries, took all the information down. So that nobody would know. Nobody would know that I was a direct descendant. And that whenever they put something in about my brother, and anybody in the information, she always either takes it out or she tries to play it down. Like now, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he wrote Sherlock Holmes, The Lost Land, Black Knight. He was filthy rich. He was in the part of the royal family. A guy like that has trillions. My mother didn't want anybody to know that I was owed trillions. That I was heir to trillions. She wanted all the money, so she lied, and she had she put something in the internet that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's family was worth $5 million. I'm like, oh my God, this had to have been my mother. My mother did take all this stuff out of the internet, all this stuff out, and now we're looking up the internet. It says we're worth $5 million. My mother's got to be kidding. This woman, Paulie Doyle Duffy, whose stage name was Penny Doyle, has got to be kidding. Whose maiden name is Penny Selwyn, has got to be kidding. She's putting in the internet that we're worth $5 million. And we're a part of the royal family. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote all those books. All those movies are still out there. Martin Lawrence just did a comedy takeoff on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's book. We get paid for that. Batman is a derivative from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's book, The Black Knight. All these movies, all these books, rivals of Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes in the 20th century, 21st century was the 22nd century was a cartoon. All this stuff out there, and we're worth $5 million. Who is my mother trying to fool? Who is Paulie Doyle Duffy, aka Penny Doyle, aka Pauline Selwyn? My mother. Who is she trying to fool? First, she takes everything out of the library, all the footage out of the library to prove who I am. And now she puts in the internet that we're worth $5 million. Who is this woman trying to kid? Is she that desperate to keep this money from me that she's going to stoop that low to say something like that? I mean, like, how stupid is it? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's whole entire family. Now, mind you, we're not only a royalty. We're not only royalty. We're not only direct descendants of royalty. He not only wrote all these books, but the family is huge. So the main part of the money goes to me, my sister, and my father. Mainly me because I'm the male direct descendant. But look at all the other people in the family that money goes out to too. The family is huge. If that's all we were worth was $5 million, each one of us should have $1 or less. Each one of us had have a quarter or 50 cents to our name. If that's all we were worth. As big as the Doyle family is, all we would be worth is a quarter, 25 cents a person. If that's all the family was worth. Maybe not even that. $5 million for a huge family who owns all these houses and cars? $5 million? And there are castles in England. We're related to the royal family. Books like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, Lost Land, Black Knight, derivatives from the book, a comedy takeoff, such as The Black Knight with Martin Lawrence, Batman. All this money is coming to our family. And how huge our family is. And that's all we're worth. My mother, Paulie Doyle Duffy, has got to be kidding. She has got to be kidding. If she thinks that the public is going to believe that nonsense, she is stupider than she thinks I am. She is stupider than she thinks I am, and that's pretty stupid. She is stupider than she thinks the public is, and that's pretty stupid. The truth is, my father's estate, and he was the last male direct descendant before me, and he left the money to me. And Nassau County Medical Center, we have live footage of them saying it, but he has not out there, but it will be out there. My father had $28 trillion when he died. That's the truth. And now it's quadrupled that. And that's how much the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's estate is worth. Not $5 million, but quadruple 2,800 trillion. Quadruple that. Our family's worth. Not the whole family. That's the 3 direct descendants. And she's putting on the internet that were worth $5 million. They just put my mother just put my brother on the internet. She just put something in where Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Sir Conan Doyle. Conan Doyle and Conan Doyle. And then she put a thing of my sister where it says Tracy A. Doyle and pictures of her. Nothing about me. My brother's not even a real Doyle. He's getting all this credit from my mother and everybody else. He's not even a real Doyle. He looks identical to me. Except for the fact my teeth are messed up right now and I'm not in good shape. But otherwise, he looks identical to me. And once I fix myself up, we're going to look identical again. But the only difference is I got scars on my body to prove that I'm the real Sir Doyle. He doesn't. I got a knee injury, broken shoulder, to prove I'm the real Sir Doyle. He doesn't have these things. However, when I fix my teeth, get my hair done up right, and my body in shape, we're going to look identical again. The only thing is, I got a knee injury here, broken shoulder here. Should have fixed. He doesn't have that. He's not going to take everything. He's not going to. He can have my mother vouching that he's the real man, but he's not going to do it, and he's not going to get away with it. All he is my double. My double. My half brother and my double. That's all I'll ever be. Oh, Cannon. I hear you're a patsy boy. I hear you're gay. I hear that you're a patsy boy. I hear that you're gay. The real Sir Ronnie is straight as an arrow. Tell that to the king. You're gay. You're the fake Sir Ronnie. But your brother, the real Sir Ronnie, is straight as an arrow. Tell that to the king. Tell that to the king. Remember the movie The Man in the Iron Mask? Does anybody out there remember the movie The Man in the Iron Mask? The next time I air next week, when I get the other phone working, I want people to chat and tell me if they heard of The Man in the Iron Mask, the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio. The Man in the Iron Mask. That movie became very famous. It was a movie taken from another movie back in the 60s. But the second movie with Leonardo DiCaprio back in the 2000s made really big when that story came out about what my brother did to me. And nobody connected the two stories, but that's how it became big. They were paying attention to this Sir Ronnie Doyle, political science major, Sir Ronnie Doyle, political prisoner, and everything he did. And they came out with that movie, Man in the Iron Mask, to make money off the story. But the original movie was in the 60s, but the movie Man in the Iron Mask with Leonardo DiCaprio was about a movie from the 60s brought back. But it came out and it became famous because of a story. It wasn't from the story, but it was similar enough that they were able to put the movie out again when the story about my brother and I came out. Because I was truly the Man in the Iron Mask. He tells everybody now that he's the Man in the Iron Mask. He's not the Man in the Iron Mask. He's the illegit one that walked off with the fortune. I'm the Man in the Iron Mask. My mother will even tell you that he's the Man in the Iron Mask, but he's not. I am the Man in the Iron Mask. He's the fraud, not me. My father was Donald Gregory Doyle. He married my mother, who's turning on me now, Paulie Doyle Duffy, whose name was Paulie Selwyn, and Penny Doyle stage name. And he married her and had me and my sister. My brother, although our father was an albino black, my brother married a straight up black woman. My father. My father didn't marry her. He had a kid with a straight up black woman. And his partner, Joan Jeffers, was married to that woman. My father had a good name. He didn't want to let anybody know he had a bastard son. So he allowed Joan Jeffers to raise Chris Jeffers, who was his real son, and his bastard son. They called it a bastard son. I'm not calling him a bastard. Luke, you said, why are you calling your brother a bastard? I'm not calling him a bastard because he's a bastard. A bastard son is someone who's not legit. Anyway, his mother was a straight up black woman. And my father, our father, was an albino black, and my mother was a Hungarian, who I think we're finding out is Romanian. And they had me and my sister. So we're the two direct descendants. I'm the last male direct descendant. He's trying to claim he's the firstborn son. He's not legit. Now there's this skeptical about the story. So what's really going on? Because now reason why I broke up with his sister, who was basically my stepsister, and had kids with me, is because she could be my real sister, because she could be a half sister, because my brother could be an identical twin, and I don't know, we weren't told about it. That didn't go on record. But even if he was an identical twin, and even if he was born a minute before me, the man was brought up by Joan Jeffers and Mrs. Porter, Angie Porter. Brought up by Angie Porter and Joan Jeffers, his father. And he lived with his sister, Darius Porter, who, if he was my twin, would be my half-sister. He's not legit. He's not legit. My father raised me with Mrs. Doyle. His father raised him with Angie Porter. His name is Chris Jeffers. My name is Richard Doyle. Sir Richard Doyle. Sir Doyle. Sir Deacon Richard Stephen Doyle. Other known as Sir Cannon and Sir Ronnie. He got knighted as Sir Cannon because of big arms, and he also called himself Sir Doyle. Sir Ronnie. So I was the real Sir Ronnie. Okay, so regardless if he's, whatever went down, now I had to break up with Darius because I might be able to go back with her. Darius, I might be able to go back with you if I find out you're not my blood sister. If I find that out, but it might be that he's an identical twin. And if he is an identical twin, he could even be born before me. He's still not legit. He was brought up as Chris Jeffers. I was brought up as Richard Doyle. He stole. He took my ID, my social security number, and my identification and my birth certificate that he got from Dr. Stanley Reddy. So he's all right there, he's a fraud. He got knighted with that stuff because he's a fraud. And he's a fraud not only because he's illegit, but because he did identity theft to get knighted. He used my good name to do identity theft. That's a criminal. I am the man in the iron mask. I am the man in the iron mask. Not him, me. You know what? I ain't no faggot. No offense to gay people. I'm not gay like him. And not that there's anything wrong with gay people. But in the Bible it says no homosexuals, no fornicators, no adulterers, no sodomizers. And truth is, when the guy was in South Nancy, I got footage of this. He was blown up like a balloon. The only way you could tell him apart from me is because he was fat and I was thin. And I was built good. He was fat. And he had red hair. And he was real fat. And I had red hair at the time, but now it's turned gray. Bright brown hair, actually. He had red. That's another way you could tell us apart. But then again, he'll dye his hair. And anyway, he told me he was gay. Chris, Cannon, you want to be called Cannon? You're gay. You told me you were gay. You don't want people to know you're a flamer? You admitted it to me. And I don't want you bothering with these girls like Asha Paul and Nicole Lyons and all them, because what were you doing for them? Nothing. Good for nothing. They were crazy about you, both of them. And all these girls, Danielle Porter, they were all crazy about you. But, brother, I know your secret. You never screwed one of them. You're gay. You heard it first on the Hospital Gate. The guy that says he's Cannon Doyle is gay. Not me. The guy's trying to say he's Cannon Doyle is gay. You heard it first on Hospital Gate. There are pictures of this guy buffed up. I mean, really buffed. Because for a while, you probably saw me in Hospital Gate Strikes Back. If you looked at me in hospital, I was really built. I was a powerhouse in Hospital Gate Strikes Back. You can look at that video. Someone put that out there. Hospital Gate Strikes Back. Or you look up my dating profile for the dating site. I'm built up like a max. Anyway, they got pictures of my brother built like that. Really built. Only bigger. And he's supposed to be this macho man, Sir Conan Doyle, knighted by the Queen. Really, he's a patsy boy. In reality, Cannon, my brother, whose real name is Chris Jeffers, is a patsy boy. Patsy boy! You're a patsy boy! And you know what? These rumors have been out for a long time, but you know what? I know the truth that these rumors are true because he admitted it to me. And I got live footage of him admitting it. Being a big fat guy with red hair, admitting the fact that he's gay. We didn't really look like back then because he was fat and I was built good. Otherwise, we still looked alike, but he had a blown. I mean, I'm fat now, but I'm not way near as fat as he was. I made a joke out of him. I said, someone said, Chris, your brother looks just like you. I said, really? I said to the nurse, you gotta be kidding. He weighs 400 pounds. And he chased me around the ward in the hospital in H1. Chased me around H1. Got so pissed. I said, he weighs 400 pounds. And he was nice to me back then. But then he did all this shit in shoot language, took all this money from me and everything, took my identity. He turned on me. Although I gotta admit though, he wanted to go half and half. And I wouldn't go half and half because it was my money, it was my estate. And I should go half and half. And then when he couldn't get me to go half and half, he wants to steal it all. Maybe I should have gone half and half because he is my brother, so I should have gone half and half. But it didn't give him a right to commit identity theft and do all this stuff. It didn't give him that right. Because I had a right to choose whether I want to go half and half or not. And maybe I still would have. I probably still would have given him half. But then he does all this. Gets the ID and the non-driver's ID, the Social Security card, and the birth certificate from Dr. Stanley Reddy, and goes to England and gets knighted with my name. Come on. And there was something on The Simpsons. Lisa Simpson is watching on the show. She's going, uh, "So Ronnie, he's running for president. I'm going to vote for him." And then she looked at the other cartoon character, which is supposed to be me, in the jail cell, going, "Oh no, the real Sir Ronnie is a political prisoner." Yeah. This was all on The Simpsons, and this stuff was out there. There were people, later on I had said that my brother was a fraud, and that I was the real Sir Ronnie, and they had said that I called up and I said the real Sir Ronnie had died. Because I want to see how far they're going to take this. So they said, okay, we'll ride with this. And Hillary Clinton, knowing that I was still alive on the ward, was like arguing with Elliot Spitzer about who killed the real Sir Ronnie. Arguing with them, they're arguing with each other. And it went all over the news that the real Sir Ronnie, which was me, got killed. I called up and they said, my brother's still a fraud, and I am the real Sir Ronnie, and I'm still alive. And then prior to that, they had said I was dead, because initially they had said I was dead in the South Nassau H1, so that they could sell property that belonged to me. And so that my brother could get my hold of my Social Security number and everything. And then they had said I was alive again, but it wasn't me. I was a different Richard Doyle. They were trying to say when I was in Pilgrim for the first time that I was a different Richard Doyle when this whole story was going down, and that I wasn't the real Sir Richard. I was a different Richard Doyle. But what they made a mistake is that they kept on discharging me with my ID. Yet they also gave my ID to my brother. So they couldn't really say I was a different Richard Doyle if I had the same identification. They didn't think about that. They didn't show me my identification. But then in South Nassau D4, when the place got, Dr. Stanley, when he built up the hospital bigger with money from my bank, and then he merged with Mount Sinai. And my son thought he was slick. He took my ID, a copy of my ID. Actually, he took my wallet. My wallet had all my ID in it. And he was going around saying he was me. Now, my son looks like me, except he's a lot shorter and stockier. But when he plays music, he says he's the real Black Monday, and he's able to make the cameras make him look taller, so they think he's really me. And then he had my ID. Now, Danae Stanzioni. Yeah, I'm calling everyone out. I'm calling you out here, Bobby. I'm calling your slut daughter out. The real Robert Stanzioni and his daughter, Danae Stanzioni, she had sex with my son. She claimed that she thought that he was the real Sir Deacon Doyle. And I'm saying, you really thought that he was the real Deacon Doyle? She says, yeah, he is. The kid was 14 years old. Now he's 15. He was 14 then. I was 59 years old. He had my ID that said that I was born in 64. Some women came up to him, you got to give that ID back. But I'm the real Deacon Doyle. He said, no. You need a 14-year-old kid with the 59-year-old's ID. And he's fooling everyone. And he's actually sleeping with 50-year-old women. My former boss, Robert Stanzioni from the Sino Cafe, who was my boss, and at the time his daughter was 19 and I was 28. We dated a little bit. Oh, we talked over the phone, and she didn't get a good look at me. She seen me on stage. She didn't get a good look at me, but she liked me. She said she thought my son was me, and she slept with him. The kid took my ID and slept with 50-year-old women. Do you know what I did? I went straight to the grandfather. I said, Anthony, my son took my ID. He says, did you take your father's ID? And he goes, he gave it to me. His father started laughing. I said, Anthony, my son Anthony Jr., he's gonna give that ID back. He started laughing. I said, okay, you're not gonna give it back? Being working with Citizen Commission on Human Rights as an investigator, undercover, and how serious this stuff was, I was working hand in hand with the Nassau County Police Department, the FBI, and the CIA. And I was sending snipers after my son's grandfather and my son. Now, I got you. My son's grandfather was the Don of the Legacy crime family. He was pissed off that I wouldn't stay married to his daughter. He was sending people after me. He thought he was untouchable. I sent snipers after him and my own son. You know, I could bring Anthony Jr. into the world, and I could take Anthony Jr. out and his grandfather. And you know what? His grandfather, the first time Anthony Basile ever got caught with his tail between his legs, it was the first time. He came up to the ward. He goes, son, we got to give your father back his ID. They're shooting at us. And still, a copy of my ID, a copy of my birth certificate, my social security card, everything. A lot of people have, and especially my brother, Cannon, and they're spending money and they're taking money that belongs to me and everything. And you heard it fresh on Hospital Gate. My brother's going around, they call himself Cannon Doyle. There's the real saying he's the real Serrani, telling everybody he's the real Richard Doyle. He took the castles in England and everything. Hospital Gate will find you. Cannon Doyle, Hospital Gate will find you. And my son, Anthony Basile, Anthony Basile Jr., who did the same thing. Hospital Gate already found you, punk. I love my son. I wouldn't let anybody lay a hand on him but me. Nobody can lay a hand on my son but me. And I sent snipers after him and his grandfather. I'm not taking shit from no one, not even my own 15-year-old son. Or his grandfather, who happens to have been the Don of the Gacy crime family. I'm not taking shit from no one. However, I'm an honorable man. Don't have any mafia ties, except indirect ones. Indirect mafia ties. Never stole any money. Don't believe, like Robert De Niro says, there's honor among thieves. No. Robert De Niro, you're an ass. Honor among thieves? I heard you on that podcast saying there's honor among thieves when you were talking about how they wouldn't associate with Donald Trump, saying he was a mobster. He's not a mobster. And you know what, Robert De Niro? There's no honor among thieves. But I'm honorable. I don't steal nothing from nobody. Nothing from nobody do I steal. I don't steal nothing from nobody. I did kill someone in self-defense. Hector Morales. Former middleweight champion Hector Morales, who is Mike Tyson's cousin. Right jab. He was biting me. He bit me here. Scars right there. He bit me here. Then he bit me. He tried to bite my ear off. And he bit me here. And I hit him 3 times. 3 right jabs. And he's dead. Heart attack. Died of heart attack. I think that Mike Tyson's been after me for quite a long time. Hector Morales, 3 right jabs. In Creedmoor. There's videos of it. There's tapes of it. Mike's seen the tapes. You've seen the tapes, Mike. And there was also tapes of me taking down like 20 different staff members and taking the injection and putting it in the doctor's leg. But you don't mess with me, I won't mess with you. Try to take me out, I'm going to take you first. And all these doctors and orderlies, you think you're going to put medicine in me? No. I'll take you all down, and I'll inject the doctor just like I did in Creedmoor. Don't even try it. Don't even try it in case I ever go in the hospital again. But I won't go in the hospital again because I'm not doing anything wrong. But if I did get in the hospital again, I'm giving you that message. I'll take you all down and then inject the doctor just like I did the doctor in Creedmoor. I'm really a peaceful person until someone rubs me the wrong way. Love my son, love my daughter. Yeah, even my son, my 14-year-old son, who's 15 now. I sent snipers after him and his grandfather because he took my ID. So I'll do that to my own son, Cannon. You imagine what I'll do for you? Imagine what I'll do to you? I sent snipers after my own son, Cannon. What do you think I'm going to do to you? Give yourself up. You heard it first on Hospital Gate. Now I want to straighten someone out. A good friend of mine, my best friend, Lukey. He's saying things about that he's talking trash about past Pastor Ali. Lukey, you don't know that man. You know nothing about that man. Why are you saying those things? You don't know a man. You can't judge a man. You know nothing about a man. You can't judge a man. Pastor Ali is a great pastor. Why are you judging that man? Calling him a thief. He didn't steal anything. Pastor Ali. Yeah. I'll be right there. I'll be right there. Anyway, I can't stand that when people interrupt my podcast and say things like that. Like I want you all to know what's going on. I want you to know what all this stuff, but not that stuff. She's so intrusive. The woman is so intrusive. Anyway, you heard it first on Hospital Gate. If anyone's ever trafficked in hospital, anyone's ever drugged up in hospital, any abuse in hospital at all, or anywhere else, Hospital Gate is here to help.